lineup. It will be Boutriel who will sit on the bench for this one. It was a much tougher semi-final for France over the USA. Had to put a lot into that one. Italy, by contrast, had a fairly comfortable win over Japan. The referees for this final on the floor will be Tim Badenhagen of Germany and Andrzej Witkowski of Poland. They'll be supported by Thailand's Nunta Chatasuvanasin and Pavel Chela, Thailand and Slovakia will be the referee assistants. There's a glimpse of Stefano Cerioni, head of the Italian foil program, and it's time for the team huddles. Throw the Italian flag up in the air. The Italians always come up with something special. Now for the French huddle. Things are going to get very noisy here. So this is the lineup for the first match. Alicia Volpi, the world number 2, takes on Isura Tibus, the world number 5. 9 legs of fencing here, 9 bouts. The order's preordained. Volpi starting for Italy, followed by Errigo and Favoretto. Tibus starting for France, followed by Patru and Ronvier. And they'll rotate, so each fencer fences each of the 3 opponents once through the 9 legs. The target score of 45. Gotta say, heads up in terms of today's performance. Italy really are the team to beat. They have to be favourites here on home soil. The French need to get off to a good start.
Ali. Alt, contre-parade, réponse non, contre-attaque, touche, point. En garde, prête, allez. Alt, parade, réponse non, remise d'attaque, touche, point. En garde. Prête, allez.
Biggest roar so far.
En garde. Prête, allez.
Tibus going after Volpi.
En garde. Prête, allez. Allez, parade, défense touche, point.
So get our first video review.
Parade, réponse touche, point.
And hit stands. 1 video review per athlete per leg. And if foil is something new to you,
Prête, allez.
it's a point weapon. You've got to hit with the tip of your sword. The target area is the torso. If you hit off the torso on the arms and the legs and the top of the mask, you get a white light up. It's a weapon of convention, so the referee has to decide who the attacking fencer is. And this time, it's Volpi who's going to challenge. Now, it was very clear to me that Tibus went for the big circular cease beat. Well, there you saw it. And Volpi's claiming that she also tried to hit her opponent's blade, and this is what the referees look at when we talk about the video replay, watching it in 30% speed, and then they go back, usually watch it one more time at full speed.
Attack, touche, one.
Tim Bardenhagen sticks with his call.
Red, Ali.
Volpi, individual world champion a few days back. Gets the attack that time. One of the few women's foil fencers who can do the flick.
En garde. Red, Ali. Halt, attaque parade, riposte non. Remise d'attaque non valable. En garde. Red, Ali.
And hit given to Volpi, and this time Tibus asked for a video, but I think she's burnt her video already. She can't have that again. She asked for it. There's the individual men's champion, Tommaso Marini, in the crowd supporting his counterparts on the women's team.
Ali.
Close. Just hit off target.
Red. Ali.
Tibus managing to disconnect Volpi's body wire from her foil, which is why you saw a white light.
Ali.
Well, somehow Tibus, in an effort to evade her opponent, watch this, she's all off, out of balance, just sticks her arm out, somehow manages to land the final hit of the first leg. And it couldn't be tighter. Now, Errigo, the world number 23, is actually a returning athlete. She's given birth to twins since the World Championships back in Cairo last year. Silver medal there, silver medal here on her return to international competitive fencing. And she is going up against Morgan Patru. She finished in the top 32 in the individual competition. And this will be a fight the Italians have targeted. The job here for Italy is to build as big a lead as they can over this leg. Patrick been sent in to contain by the looks of things.
En garde. Red, Ali. Technical touch, one.
And watch this. Patru steps over the back line, and you can't do that. That is a penalty hit to Mariana Errigo, and Italy back on level terms. Now, the attack given to Errigo. So she just starts before. And that's why Tim Bardenhagen has given her the hit. Well, it had two bites of the cherry, Errigo. Didn't land either of them.
On guard. Red. Ali.
The referee's going to go and have a look at this one. And I think that was because of the action from Errigo. He wants to make sure that she doesn't break any time here. On the replay, it's a tough one to call this because you've got to look, the arm's got to be moving forwards all the time. Does Errigo, after retracting her arm, bending her elbow, does she start first? This was a call from the referee, Stefano Cerioni. At least thinks it's Errigo's hit. We're just about to find out. And an abstention. That's a good call. That's a good call from Tim Bardenhagen. That was a tricky one. And he says, he openly says, I'm abstaining. I'm not going to make a call on that one. It was tight. That is fantastic. To execute that, having been out of the sport for the best part of a year, point control's the first thing that goes. And look at the tiniest part of target that Errigo hits right on the edge of the lame jacket.
On guard. Red. Ali. Uit. Paraat. Riposte non valable. On guard. Red. Ali. On guard. Red. Ali.
It's another one. That's a second attempt at that one. And Tsunari, as she's nicknamed, Ariana Errigo,
On guard.
is blowing her way through this one.
Ali.
Counter riposte fails for Morgan Patru.
Uit. Attaque de gauche non valable. On guard. Red. Ali.
And stepping in on the counter to finish things off. A 6-1 run for Ariana Errigo. And the Italians have nicked the lead off the French. Said it was a fight they would have been targeting. And Errigo showing that she could time the counter-attack very well as well at the end. Didn't have the right of way, but avoided getting hit. Up now, it's Martina Favoretto, world number 6 and bronze medalist in the individual competition against the world number 10, Pauline Ranvier. And Ranvier finished in the top 16 of the individual competition 3 days ago.
La finale para tripus non voilà. En garde. Prêt. Allez. Attaque para tripus non voilà. En garde. Prêt. Allez.
Favoretto, number 3 on the Italian team sheet, you have to say, behind Volpi and Errigo. She's won 2 World Cups this season. individually. She won in Cairo back in February, and then the last World Cup before the Zonal Championships in Tbilisi, she also took gold. But she's proved her worth at the European Championships in Plovdiv, getting the silver medal. And like I say, collected the bronze in the individual tournament here. So, despite being number 3 on the squad, she is an important member of this team. And in the scrap, as Favoretto comes out on top. Ranvier asking for a weapon to be checked, but it did bend there on the leg of Favoretto. So she had it tested by the referee just to make sure it's still working. If it wasn't working, then that hit would be annulled. But she still elects to surrender that weapon and get a new one from the box. Target score of 15 to get us to a third way through the match. And Favoretto with that extra long lunge, finding the target. Missed on the attack that time, Favoretto. Oh, they're both missing now. And finally, Ranvier scores. Just a bit too busy on the blade there for Martina Favoretto, and Pauline Ranvier spotted it and launched an attack. Great recovery from Favoretto there, having really committed to that lunge. So the first actions from both fencers called no from Andrzej Witkowski, the Polish referee, who's on for fights 3 and 4. So this is all about who's deemed to have started the first attack. If it is Favoretto, then it's her remise that lands, but I'm not entirely convinced. I think Ranvier was worth giving this one a shout on the video. Referee's returning, and he's changing it. It was a good shout from Pauline Ranvier. Looked like she'd started the attack. She missed the first one, but then Favoretto missed. So it was Ranvier's turn.
Hangar. Break. Allez. Attack. Push. Hangar.
And now it's Favoretto's turn to call for the video. I think on this occasion that might be a blown video appeal. Just a little bit more intent from the French fencer on the right. She steps in, she stops Favoretto as well. I think Witkowski's going to stick with his decision here. He does. So that is Favoretto's video gone for this bout. Riposte fails, and now they're all caught up in the middle. Off target light is the result. So Ronvier has closed the gap up. Started with a 4-hit deficit, the French. My goodness me. The composure and the core strength to finish that one off from Favoretto. Quite incredible. She had 3 goes at it in the end. But a 5-5 run means that the 4-point deficit remains in place for the French team, a third of the way through the match. Up next. Well, they just waited for video confirmation, but up next you can see the world number 4, Alicia Volpi, taking on Morgan Patru, the world number 32. And this is another match that the Italian team will target. They will be looking to open up this 4-point lead now with Alicia Volpi, the individual champion, going up against Morgan Patru. A nervy fight for Patru. Riposte fails from Volpi. So lands a riposte to get the first hit. That will calm her nerves for sure. Patru. There's the big, deep cart parry on the 4 line.
En garde. Prêt. Allez.
Picks up the blade again, Morgan Patru. This is good work from the young French fencer against the individual world champion. Licia Volpi trying to counter attack with body evasion.
Alla finale Paralympics, non voilà. En garde. Prêt. Allez.
So you can see what Patru's trying to do here. It's a little bit of a spoiling tactic, to be fair, but she would have been sent on to do a bit of containment. As Volpi's stepping in, she's trying to close the distance on her. Like that. Clearly, the French coaches have decided that's the way that Patru do some damage against Volpi in a fight that the Italians will be expecting to blitz through. She's done well, closed the 4-point gap to just 2. Now the confidence is up in the French fencer, and she's going after her, but Volpi is a very determined defensive fencer. Very strong, the parries are so very, very strong, and it's difficult then to get back out of it if you've gone too deep into your attack. Again, trying that closing of distance, but this time Volpi's worked it out. So now Patru has to change. She's starting from, the Italian fencer is starting from just a little bit further away to create the space to finish in the line that she wants to go to. And picks up the blade this time for me, and Volpi gets the para riposte. 20 points the target. There's the parry in the 8 line, or octave. Now, a video being called here, but a hit was given to Volpi. I suppose it's worth Patru calling for this, but it's in hope more than judgment. That looked to be Volpi's attack all the way. And again, she adapted to the way Patru was fencing by just starting from a little bit further out from her, the beginning of her attack. And there we have it. 20 plays 14, so the lead built up by 2 points in the end. Good start from Patru, but then Volpi worked out how to get around it. It's all done on the feet. So up next, it's Martina Favoretto for her second fight, going up against Isa Tibus, the world number 2. Now, I've talked about the fights the Italians are targeting. This is definitely one the French are targeting. Tibus' job here is to close this gap up. Target score for the match, 25 points.
En garde. Prête. Allez.
Looks to be a 17-beat attack. Have another look at it here.
Pardon.
The beat had already happened by that point, but
En garde.
it was definitely
Prête.
Isor Tibu's hit. The first one of the fifth leg. Exceptionally close distance, but that's why Favoreto's just pushing and pushing and pushing. And she's actually allowing Tibus to step away before then going for that big. Well, it's not such a big step, but the lunge is so impressively long. There we go, clearly happy with that one.
Prête. Allez. Halte, attaque, non valable, merci. En garde.
He's picking up these beats to establish the right of way, and what she's waiting for, Favoretto, is for Tibus to then begin an attack. Because she'll have the right of way, she can then just find the right area of target to hit. I make that sound so simple, but they train for this very moment.
En garde. Prête. Allez.
Two beats there, and Giovanna Trellini there, the well, multiple world and Olympic medalist in her time, gives the thumbs up. She knows that that was a para riposte from Tibus. He hit off target, so no point scored by the French team. Now Tibus has worked out how to use this really short distance they're fencing at. Waits for the moment of hesitation from Favoretto and then dives in. Favoretto sticking with it though. Finds that beat, and this time it's a counter from Tibus that lands because Favoretto did not hit the target. She found the beat. This is her attack. She misses underneath or beside the hip.
En garde. Prête. Allez.
Now, there's a possibility that a card is going to come out here. And I think there's going to be a video called. Cerioni certainly, the coach, certainly saying to Favoretto, call for a video because Tibus's head went down. In real time, it looked to me like it was an obstruction of the target. Well, actually, on review, she keeps her chin up, but the card coming out of the pocket for Tim Badenhagen, and it's there when the head goes down, the chin moves to the side. As we see President of the FIA, Emmanuel Katsidiakis, in the VIP seats. I think sitting behind him is one of the top people at the IOC coming to see the World Championships. This is an Olympic qualifier, of course, the International Olympic Committee coming to have a look. Jochen Faber is his name. Attack from the left.
En garde. Prête. Allez. Halt.
Took a little hit on the funny bone by the looks of things, Favoretto. I'm not sure. Well, I didn't actually see it, so maybe she's just jarred it somewhere. So it looks like we're going to get a physio out, or they're going to call the official medic out to check this. Cerioni hoping it's nothing serious. It doesn't look muscular. That may have been where the incident happened. The guard scraping down the inside of the elbow. It's definitely not muscular. So it looks like she's saying, look, the problem isn't the extension of the arm, it's when she's trying to do circular movements, when she does her circular cease to circular 6 beats and parries. Just having a little rest to let the sting wear off. Favoretto looking ready for action again. They just test the jackets to make sure the coloured lights come up after a little break like that, especially when a fencer takes their foil out of or takes the body wire out of the foil. So they can make sure all the connections are still working.
Attack, non valable. En garde. Prête. Allez.
Well, there's that deep lunge, and then she slipped on her front foot.
En garde.
It was on the weapon. She actually picked up Tibus's weapon.
En garde.
And she was going for her octave parry. That's what extended the lunge. Looked to me like a parry riposte, but referee's actually calling it a beat attack from Tibus that failed. Well, you see a circular action from Tibus. She does pick up the blade, so she had the right way, but she missed. And now Tibus goes to exchange her weapon. Favoretto has just stamped on it, so probably not a bad idea. Now, getting shots from the box here of Céline Boutreal, looking like she may well be getting ready to come on. Have the French made a substitution? I don't think it will be the next fight.
Allez. Attack, non valable.
Time is ticking away in this one.
Allez.
And the counter coming through. But they don't reach the target score of 25. Counterintuitively, I have to say, it actually favours the trailing team, because it means that the leading team have to score more points to get to the next target than the 5 that you usually have to get. There's 11 seconds though. There's time for 3 hits in 11 seconds in a foil match.
En garde. Prête. Allez.
Attack left, no. The counter attack is off target.
En garde. Prête. Allez.
Tibus trying to go over after one more.
En garde.
Inside a second of time.
Prête. Allez.
And they let it go. So, not quite up to the target of 25 points. I see that body evasion there from Favoretto. That's what made that attack miss, and he scored the counter. The lead is opened up for Errigo and Ranvier to take on.
En garde. Prêt. Allez.
Solid 7-point lead for the Italians at this stage. And a very calm and composed parry riposte from Ariane Errigo. That's close.
En garde. Prêt. Allez.
Attack into preparation from Ranvier. Ranvier very much of the classic model. She looks like a fencer looks in an illustrated textbook. Sitting down deep on guard in a very traditional position. Errigo a little bit more upright, but does tend to be a front foot leaning fencer, leaning forwards on the front foot. Certainly more than a very balanced Pauline Ranvier. And at the moment, Ranvier is putting a dent in this Italian lead.
En garde. Prêt. Allez. Halt. Attaque. Touche. Point.
Yeah. Errigo stepped in. She did step forward again, but watch the blade go backwards. Just slightly before that, and Ranvier picked exactly the right moment to launch her attack.
Halt. Contre-attaque non valable. En garde. Prêt. Allez. Halt. Parat. Pas de riposte. Remise d'attaque non valable. En garde. Prêt. Allez. Halt. Attaque au fer. Merci. Non valable.
Attack au fer, attack off the blade, and Favoretto being looked at in the break. Elbow treated. The first attack from Errigo fails on this occasion. And the Italian will surrender her weapon. But in fact, it didn't fail, it was parried by Ranvier. It looks like whatever work they were doing on Favoretto in this break has been deemed successful. She's on again next fight, the Italian. But right now, Pauline Ranvier is on a romp. A little slip from Errigo. That's the beauty of this sport. They are in a proper fight here with swords, but the respect, the mutual respect between the athletes is there for all to see. Attack right fails, and Ranvier doing a very disciplined job there. She just wanted to check with the referee, Tim Bardenhagen, that was her attack. She knows she missed, but she wanted to make sure that he would have given it to her had she not. That's the third time that has happened. So Errigo stepping into distance without committing to an attack. And Ranvier super sharp.
En garde. Prêt. Allez. Halt. Attaque non valable.
I wonder if Errigo is thinking whether she should
Pauline.
just open the distance up a tiny bit.
Prêt. Allez. Halt. L'attaque non valable.
Doesn't look that way. And if Ranvier converted a couple of those off-target hits, she'd be pretty close to being leveling up with the Italian team. 2 beats of the blade, and the second one is with Pauline Ranvier. And now it's Erigo's turn to ask for a video review. Well, it's clear that Ranvier's beat the blade on that replay. The question is, did Erigo do that as well? No. Hit stands. And the signal given from Tim Badenhagen that the beats were together, but the stronger one came from the French fencer. Crowd, as you can hear, not so happy with that.
En garde. Prête. Prête. Allez. Halt. Parat. Riposte non valable. En garde. Prête. Allez. Halt.
Ranvier misses the first one, but that is only the third hit from Erigo. And Stefano Cerioni stands up to signal that his fencer's body wire clip wasn't attached to the jacket anymore. Somewhere in there, the hullabaloo of that last hit, it got detached, and that would mean the electric jacket, the lame, wouldn't signal a green light for Ranvier. So very fair as well, seeing two moments of mutual respect, one from Ranvier and the other from Cerioni. Now we hear that, see the mask clip fly off. The bib with the mask is now part of the valid target area, and so there's a clip between the mask and the jacket they're wearing. You can just see it on Ariana Erigo's right shoulder. Ranvier's left.
Halt. En dehors. Halt. Maître devant. Oui. C'est là. En garde. Prête. Allez. Halt.
Ranvier's done a great job of quietening this crowd down. Until now.
Allez. Halt. Parat. Riposte non valable. En garde. Prête. Allez.
12 points scored in a minute and a half of this fight, and there's a minute and a half left.
Halt.
And that's a 9th one for Pauline Ranvier. There we go, having to dig deep here.
En garde. Prête.
7-point deficit coming into the match France had. First action from Ranvier in that case is no. And is she going to call for the video? See, she's just stepped out. It was her attack, but she pulled out of it. And she has elected to call for the video because I think she thinks she's picked up Erigo's blade in that action. So, yes, she lost the right of way, but then she gained it back straight away by finding the foil. That's certainly what she thinks. You can see that Tim Badenhagen saying she bent her arm halfway through the first attack, so it doesn't count. She may have deceived the blade, though. And that is a burnt video from Ranvier. Did look like it was Erigo's at first sight. Parry riposte, no. And the continuation of the attack goes through. 10 hits in any team match when you're behind is an impressive haul. It's time for her to get more as well. She's going for it. Both athletes, I think, thought they hit then. Just testing their weapons.
Madame. En garde. Prête. Allez. Pardon. En garde. Prête. Allez.
Again, the para riposte fails from Ariana Errigo. And it's a bit of a lucky continuation again for Ranvier. Errigo trying to change her weapon. Volpe and Favoretto in deep conversation. Clearly Volpe giving some advice to Favoretto about how she should handle Morgan Patru, because that's the next fight in the lineup.
En garde. Prêt. Allez. Halt, parat, riposte non. Remise d'attaque, non valable. En garde. Prête. Prête. Allez. Halt, attaque, non valable. En garde. Prête. Allez. Halt, attaque au fer.
Well, this time there's a beat of the blade, and Ranvier calls for a video, but she burnt that video earlier on. But what a run from the French fencer, 11 points to 6. A super run from her. Ranvier very happy with the effort she put in there. Now we have Martina Favoretto back on for her last fight as we go into the final third, going up against Morgan Patru. Patru has come through her 2 fights, being hit 7 more times than she's hit her opponent. Favoretto has outscored her 2 opponents by 1 hit. So after a fantastic comeback from Pauline Ranvier, the French team are just 2 behind. I'm pretty sure Cerioni, the coach in the box for Italy, will say to Favoretto, take your time, but can we build this lead back up again, please? So far, containment from Patru. Let's see the amount of work that Ariana Errigo did. With a strain on her face as well. It's not what we normally expect from Errigo. It's usually Errigo that's the one that goes on the rampage. Para riposte from Favoretto was off target. So preparation, the attack is called against Favoretto. Patru with the same approach as she's taken in the last fight. As soon as the Italian attack starts, she's staying close distance as Francesca Palumbo looks on, a reserve for Italy. Patru staying at close distance. As soon as she sees the start of a proper attack, she closes the distance, and now she goes on a step lunge attack of her own. One step forward to have a look, and then the step lunge attack. So eyes open with that first step, looking to see what her opponent does. Favoretto didn't start her attack, so off went Morgane Patru and draws level with Italy. And now another attack, and the French have come from a long way behind, 7 points in 2 fights. Heavy lifting, you have to say, has been done by Pauline Ronvier in the last match, going 11-6 with Errigo, but Patru has picked up the baton and carried on sprinting away. France lead after this one. Boy, we're in for a couple of bouts at the end. They're going to be full of fireworks. So the beat attack being given to Favoretto off target. Still diving in and closing the distance. Palumbo can't watch. Yeah, the attack comes from the left that time. (31 apiece in terms of the match score, but it's 3-1 to Patru at the moment. Not short of confidence at the French fencer, that's sure. Final action is a parry riposte off target from the right. Very disciplined approach here from Morgane Patru as well. She doesn't feel the attacks coming, she moves away. She's sticking with this close distance. This time she tried to go a little bit early. She predicted a little early that that was coming. Clever fencing from Martina Favoretto. She probably gave her a bit of a fake moment that she was going to go. A bit of second intention there from Favoretto with the body movement. So Patru switches back to attacking off the blade, establishing the right away with the beat. And another video appeal called here. Well, we get a good look at the video for this one. We're having a good couple of looks, in fact, the referee. Sticks with his decision. So we get another look at the president of the FRA, Emmanuel Katsidiakis, in the crowd watching on. Palumbo sitting right at the back of the Italian box as Patru goes to change her foil. Ivana Trellini looking a little worried.
Attack, no voilà. En garde. Prêt. Allez. No voilà. En garde. En garde. Prêt. Allez.
Attack coming from the right from Patru, and now it's Favoretto doing the counters with body evasion, still struggling a little bit with her sword arm elbow. And the head of the French delegation, Pierre Guichot, stepping up into the podium area to complain about something. I think it was probably, that's their head foil coach on the right, it was actually Pierre Guichot, head of the whole Fencing Federation technical program for France. He was complaining, I think, about the mask from Martina Favoretto. And now that's given us attack on preparation from the right, and it's Favoretto who calls for a review from Andrzej Witkowski. French fencer looks for the blade a couple of times, stops, goes backwards. I think that is why Favoretto feels that this is her attack. And Favoretto trying to get the crowd going and get behind her. She wants noise, she wants the support. And you can see Tim Barderhagen on the right giving his opinion. Looks like he's agreeing with Andrzej Witkowski. And he sticks with the decision of attack not available. So, not valuable, not on target, essentially. So what happened was Patru stepped back, and Witkowski thinks that she started the attack before Favoretto after that step backwards. I'm not sure that this one's going to get given. Doesn't separate them. A time runs out in the match. A 1-point extension to the lead for Italy. But this is a lot tighter than they would have hoped for. We're coming into the business end of things as Cerioni gives feedback, and now looks like the Italians are talking potentially about making a substitution. On now is Volpi versus Ranvier. What have we got in store here? Leg number 8 of 9. Gotta think Volpi is going to go after Ranvier, but look what Ranvier did in her last match. 11-6 against Ariana Errigo. It's the same thing as well. Get too close. I think that's what Cerioni's saying. If you get too close, just finish off. Just go for the attack. That's slightly overcomplicating things by trying to look for something off the blade. Para-riposte from Alicia Volpi for me, and certainly that's what the referee's called. individual champion in the men's competition, Tommaso Marini, is just caught in the crowd there. Looks a little bit more nervous than he did earlier on. He's in the crowd. I'll tell you that Danny Garozzo, the 2016 Olympic champion and Tokyo 2020 Olympic silver medalist, is up in the commentary position right next to me, giving his thoughts to Italian TV. Both of them will be in action tomorrow in the men's team foil competition. But right now, Alicia Volpi, there is Marini cheering her on. The Italian crowd getting right behind Alicia Volpi. 2-2 in the match. Target score of 40. Oh, goes straight through to parry. And that's what Stefano Cerioni was instructing, saying just get in there, go after, don't get too close and stop. And that attack just sneaking through onto the target. Two beats of the blade. The second one is from Volpi and hits off target. And Céline Boutreuil is saying there were two beats of the blade, the reserve for France. She's right. The second one came from Volpi, I should say. He's very good at this. Remise, two of them, in fact, from Ranvier. Parry riposte right for me off target. And the referee has given that either as attack straight through. Parry riposte, no. Has Andrzej Witkowski called this perfectly? The first action off the blade, off the parry, was no. To see that in full speed is fantastic, if that is the case. It's given. Sticks with the call. Calls it parry riposte for Volpi. Close quarters, and Ranvier's winning those battles all the time. Now, what was the stop for? Because the hit's been annulled. So it's a yellow card for ducking the head from Alicia Volpi. No hit given for Ranvier because Witkowski called halt for the ducking of the head. Well, the remise of the riposte on target, and for first time in a while, an Italian has scored a close quarters hit against Pauline Ranvier. And I can tell you that the stands that we're in now are shaking like you wouldn't believe, as the Italians edge closer to the target score for this leg. One more required from Volpi. And the counter-attack finishes it off. A 6-3 victory in that leg. And Ranvier asking the referee to have a look at the video for the mask again. The head going down from Volpi, but no videos available for her. She'd already used it. And now we have the ninth and final leg. Italy leading by 6, but they have made a massive decision here. Cerioni and Trellini, they've brought on the substitute Francesca Palumbo to go up against the world number 2, Isora Tibus. Coming in cold to the last leg. And you've got to say, They probably had a discussion with Errigo about this substitution. Errigo was due to come on to anchor for Italy. Italy has such confidence in Palumbo. She didn't qualify for the individual, but they brought her in for the team event. Is she going to earn her place right here and finish this off for Italy? You saw Tibus will smell an opportunity. There is Errigo, who has been benched for the last fight. Such is Errigo's prowess. I'm sure that the coaches Trellini and Cipressa would have had a discussion with her saying, we think it's time for the substitution. Knowing how smart she is, she probably agreed with them. Responsibility falling on Palumbo, who is a top 10 fencer. Looks like she might be doing a bit of containment here, and we might get a call of passivity. 3 seconds left of action here, and we may, for the first time in the final leg of this gold medal women's team foil match, see a passivity yellow card come out. We've gone a minute without a hit, but Tim Bardenhagen just electing to give us just a little bit more time because there was only 3 seconds on the clock to build something, and Tibus lands that hit. Volpi on the left, Errigo on the right, cheering on their teammate Francesca Palumbo.
Simple, Paritus, Rian.
44, ma mi fisserei troppo con il tempo.
Ronvier, we saw just there, looking on, trying not to show too much emotion. But she did all the work to get the French team back in this match. It's the French contingent of the crowd looking as nervy as you would expect. And they didn't pass each other. Tim Bardenhagen did a good job there of not calling halt. And that's afforded Tibus another hit. Gap down to 4. Target score 45. 1 minute 34 left on the clock. Tibus at some point has got to just start upping the hit rate, even more so now as Palumbo, I think, has been unleashed now. Bit of containment to start with because Tibus is 5 points behind, so just spoil the fight a little bit. Don't allow any points to be scored. They've killed half of the time in this final leg. So Tibus has to go after this. The French coach looking incredibly anxious. And the right of way there was with Palumbo as well, and she missed. Took a hit to the funny bone. We've done that twice now. One inside, one outside. Favoretto was struggling with her sword arm elbow a little bit earlier on, and now it's Tibus's turn. And
Francesca.
Magic spray coming out.
Francesca. En garde. Prête. Allez.
A minute and 30 seconds to decide who will become the women's team foil world champion of 2023. Two most successful nations contesting it. Italy with the advantage at the moment, 41-37. Close quarters, Palumbo winding things up here, but I think she just went, well, actually the Korakor is, no, it's not Korakor, it's covering of target by the looks of things the referee's called here from Tibus. She's asking, what's this for? Did she, when she was in close quarters, turn her back shoulder in front of her front shoulder? You could do that, but you've got to lift your non-sword arm out of the way so you're not covering up that part of the target. Good spot from Bardenhagen. Palumbo on the attack, and I think this is the way forward for her now, because as time starts to tick away, Tibus is going to have no choice but to come out on the attack herself. Still very tense. Nice attack into preparation. She caught Tibus flat-footed there. Tibus had just stepped away. She stopped as she stepped in. When she had the right of way, she saw the attack coming in, and that was enough to stop her in her tracks. And Palumbo is within two. And Ronvier saying, yes, step away the first time, but then go for it. And what's the video appeal for? There's the stop. It's a clear attack. What's the referee looking for here? So it was called exactly as I said. It was Tibus's attack, but she stopped dead. So it's attack, no counter-attack, touche. This time, it's a single light, and the Italian crowd off their seats now in anticipation. A beautiful block out using the sword arm, which you're allowed to do. Counter block. Italy won away from defending the world title they won last year in Cairo. Palumbo going after it again. Goes for the counter again in close quarters. This is all working in favor of the Italians as we tick down to just over 40 seconds. I think I've seen a signal from the French coach to say to Tibus, do you flick across the body? Righty against lefty, she goes on the attack. She needs another couple of quick points here. Isora Tibus to bring them back into the contention for this one. Palumbo presses, Palumbo misses, and Tibus picks her off. Palumbo's attack for me. Palumbo's going to get this one. Everyone has stood up in the crowds. I can't see the referee, but I think he has gone off to just have a quick look at the video. And the crowd start the hollers. What are you going to call? So there they are at the video. Now does Tibus pick up the blade? Tim Bardenhagen is back to make his call. I thought it was Palumbo's to start with, and it is indeed. And the super sub brought in specifically for this team competition, Francesca Palumbo, was brought on to anchor the team through to a gold medal in the women's team foil competition at the 69th edition of the Fencing World Championships on home soil in Italy. Italy, a champions again.